At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
And I am Anthony C.A. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our program, The Hour of Politics. Thank you for joining us. Share the broadcast with somebody. And welcome to Focus on Liberia. In today's edition of the Hour of Politics, we have a succinct topic for you. Analysis of the first round of elections 2023 results. It is obvious now that we are heading to a runoff of what some people call the second round of the election. And this is obvious because 98% of the total votes have been tallied by the National Election Commission, and actually, to be exact, 98.4% of the total results have been tallied and reported by the National Election Commission. And so we know that what is left is very much insignificant, And even if one person were to get the remaining votes that is left to be counted, that person will not achieve the 50% plus one required by law to win the presidential election. And so we know for a fact now that we are going to a runoff. And so we want to do an analysis of the election results, how the parties, the major parties especially, perform. How did the National Election Commission perform? And so, folks, if you are just joining us, I cannot welcome you enough. And I will ask you to do me a favor to share the broadcast with somebody, because this is an analysis that will give you a comprehensive and concise understanding of how everything went down. And in fact, I will be giving you a major factor, if and only if when happens, will tell the results in the direction of either Weah or Bwaka for the runoff. So be right here. We are starting right now.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Seale. Let's get into the analysis right away of the first round of election 2023 results. To do the analysis, we first of all want to look at the concerning first round results. The results are concerning, and we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the Southeast effect or neglect. We will talk about that. We will also talk about the invalid votes saga. We will talk about the invalid vote saga. Also, we will talk about the fiasco so-called war rooms purportedly being talked about by the major political parties that participated in this just ending election. And also, we will talk about the trucking phenomenon in the counties. The trucking phenomenon may have an impact on how the second round of the election might play out. Who may benefit? We will be able to give you an insight. Also, we will talk about the Prince Johnson factor in the second round. That may be a major deciding factor in the second round of the election. And so, folks, let us get to business right away and do this succinct analysis on the first round of elections 2023 results. So, as I said earlier in my intro, we are going to second round. It is clear we are going into the second round. Why? Because 98.4% of the total votes have been counted and reported by the National Election Commission. And based on NEC report, as we have in our possession, George Manuel Weah of the CDC netted 43.79%, whereas Josiah Yimam Bwaka netted 43.49%. All right. In other words, George Weah got 791,000 votes, whereas Josiah Yimam Bwaka got 786,000 votes. And these numbers that I'm reading to you are on the National Election Commission website. If you go there now, you will see the results that I'm talking about. So the remaining 1.6% that is left, even if we were to say Bwaka will get the entire 1.4% that is left, that would not be enough to put him at 50% plus one, because he has 43%, just as President Weah has 43%. So similarly, if we were to get the remaining 1.6% that is left to President Weah, he will not even get 48%, let alone talking about 50% plus one that is needed to win the election. Now, if you look at the entire results, you come to realize that President Weah and Joseph Yuma Boakai have gotten pretty much equal amount of votes. It's almost that they have gotten 80% of the vote equally. That's how it looks. And the fact that it is consistent as they report, you come to a percentage that is very close or, close or similar to being shared by the two major political candidates. So one can also say that the remaining 1.6% that is left, it is more than likely they will divide it almost about equally. Now, another thing that we also want to add there is the Appiton guy, the Appiton effect. We realize that in most of the counties, Appiton has been coming third. And so, in fact, we can say also that the remaining votes that are left, or the remaining percentage, which is the 1.6%, the Appiton guy, we can also say that he will take some away. So this is the remaining 1.6% that will be divided not only between Joseph Boakai and President George Manuel Weah, but Appiton will come and take some. And it's also safe to say the other candidates more than likely will get few votes as it has been, right? And so it is clear. It is a fact, and it is established based on the numbers that we are indeed going into the second round of the elections. And of course, this time it will be between the Unity Party of Joseph Yuma Boakai and President George Manuel Weah of the CDC. So we are going into second round. Let's talk about the concerning first round results. The results are concerning for so many reasons, and we're going to name you a few of the reasons. If you look at the trend of our presidential elections since 2005 when we started voting, it is true that the Unity Party and the CDC have been taking a giant share of the vote, and usually followed by Prince Johnson for each time he ran, and also followed by the Liberty Party of Councillor Charles Walker Bronsky, who will take usually sometimes about 7% of that, maybe 9% of that. And then when Alexander Benedict Cummings contested, he also took 7%. He netted about 112,000 votes. The point I'm making here is that we are of the CDC and Unity Party, all right, who always take a giant share of the votes, and the remaining bigger portion will either be shared by the Liberty Party, the ANC, and for each time the Alexander Prince Johnson will contest, he will also take a good chunk of the vote. These individuals, the political institutions, the Unity Party, the CDC, or President Weah, all right, and the Liberty Party, and the ANC, they will always get a little more of a percentage. And the reason has been because these political individuals have been known, they have political institutions, they are always involved in the political process. They will campaign, all right? They have their own voters who have always been with them, who have always been voting for them. Since 2005, when we started having elections inconsistently in Liberia, at no time in our election history or results have we ever seen an unknown individual, an unknown political candidate to be doing better than any established political candidate or any established political or party in Liberia. I'm talking about Appiton. Appiton has been an unknown political candidate. And in fact, this is his first time contesting in the election. This is Appiton's first time contesting in the election. Dr. Tuba Nantipute way before he could contest in the 2005 election, Tipote was a household name. He came from the political party, the Liberian People's Party, that has been a known political party in Liberia. Dr. Tipote would not come third place. He did not come third place. I'm not sure he even came fourth or fifth place. He was a known politician in Liberia. He came from a recognizable political party in Liberia. He is trusted, he is respected and known, or have been known in Liberia. He would not come third place. He would not come fourth place. He would not come fifth place. And now we have Appiton, who is obvious this is a first time participating, if I'm not mistaken, in the presidential election. Even if they were not his first time participating, he does not have a name recognition in Liberia. He does not come from a political party that is known in Liberia. He is not from the Liberty Party that has participated in election. He's not from the ANC that has participated in election. He's not from the LPP that has participated in elections in the past. Never. Even Dr. H. Boehman Formula, who is also a known and household name in Liberia, when he contested on a political party's ticket in Liberia, did not come second place, did not come third place, did not come fourth place, neither fifth place. I'm saying this to say, since 2005 to this 2003, there has never been an unknown political candidate to do so well as Appiton is doing. This suggests a strange phenomenon, an unbelievable phenomenon with these results that we are seeing. The Liberian people, when you look at their voting pattern, they will always vote for a popular person, or they will always vote for a popular political party. And so, Unity Party, that has been a popular political party in Liberia, will get more of the votes in the first round. CDC will also get more of the votes in the first round of the election. And also, the Liberty Party, that has been a popular political party in Liberia, will always get a good chunk of the vote. I understand the Liberty Party did not participate this time. I understand that. The ANC in the 2017 election managed to also get a good chunk of the vote. They netted 112,000 votes. These are political institutions that competed between 2005 and 2003. At no time in any of those elections from 2005, 2011, 2017, and now, no election in which an unknown candidate from an unknown party will come third place in our election. And for that, this is strange. The Liberian people are not known for voting for unknown candidates or voting for parties that are not known and popular in our country. It has been an election process where the popular candidate or the popular political institution or political party will get a good chunk of the vote. And either one of them will come first, second, or third. We have never had an unknown candidate, an unknown political party to jump in the race for the first time to be taking third place in the election. This is strange. And there must be an explanation for this. There must be an established fact why Appiton is purportedly performing better than Tiawan Gonglo of the LPP, performing better than Elisana Cummings of the ANC. In 2017, the ANC participated. Mr. Elisana Cummings, that was his first time. He was not a household name yet, but because of the political institution he came with, because of the campaign he ran, they netted 112,000 of the votes, amounting to or representing 7%. But as we speak now, based on the results, and let me look at the results here again, Elisana Benedict Cummings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 came 5th place. A total votes right now at 98.4% of the total vote tally is 29,000 from 112,000 in 2007. 2017, from 112,000 to 29,000, and from 7% to 1.6%. Where are the ANC voters? They did not vote. Did Mr. Cummings not campaign? Mr. Cummings is one of the political participants who competed, who campaigned, who spent money. And the ANC have been working since the elections of 2017 ended. Mr. Cummings now has become more of a household name in Liberia. How could Cummings get ridiculously low numbers? It's almost like he's being demoted from 7% to 1%, when at least he has gotten a little more popular. And his political party, the ANC, has had enough time now to be involved in the political process. And then you contrast that with Apeton from the DGM, who has not done any significant work that is recognizable in the eyes of the Liberian people, who has not gained any significant level of popularity, to be doing so much well. This is completely contrary to the trends of election results in Liberia. It is completely contrary. So these political institutions that participated in this election need to do an audit of the tally sheets to establish whether or not Apeton actually get these kind of votes and that Apeton actually is taking their place in these elections. They need to go to work and do an audit of their tally sheets. How come? How is this possible? And also Tiawan Gonglo from the Liberian People's Party. This man has an impressive name recognition. He is a respectable citizen or respected citizen in our country. He campaigned vigorously. He went to every county. And he carried his message of rule of law and sweeping correction. And yet, Apeton will get more votes than Tiawan Gonglo. How? We are not saying that this is not possible at all. But we are also saying, how can this happen? Because this is completely contrary to the trend of election results. The popular parties, the popular candidates will get more votes in the elections since 2005. In this election, it is completely different. What is responsible for that? And in some places, Cummings and Gonglo getting 0. How? So there you have Apeton campaigning there. Let's put the video up again. Let's put the video up. Let's put the video up again. Hold on, bear with me, guys. Okay, so we'll leave it right there and go back to the analysis. So as you can see, Apeton there campaigning. So Apeton may have campaigned, not may have, but has campaigned as evident by the video. Similarly, what's his name? Dr. Clarence Monimba of Leno also campaigned. And we have many videos and campaign events of Monimba compared to Apeton, right? So if you look at Another phenomenon I want to point to is the popularity factor, the crowd factor in Liberia. Anytime the CDC will have an event, you will see the crowd. Anytime the Unity Party will have an event, you will see the crowd. Similarly, whenever you have the ANC having an event, you will see a little bit of crowd. And in 2005, that translated, 2017, that translated into 112,000 votes for Alexander Benedict Cummings. All right. And in the same 2017, that translated into about 400,000 votes for the Unity Party. And equally so, that translated into about 500,000 plus of the votes in 2017 for the CDC. The crowd will always suggest that a good number of people on the side. If you look at Monumba crowd during his rallies and campaigns events, right, he put on more crowd compared to Appiton. So how now Appiton is getting more votes than Monumba? How come now, and Appiton has not been known, his party has not been known, right? How come now Appiton is getting more votes than even Tiawan Gonglo, who has some name recognition, and Cummings, who has some name recognition? All right, who these two parties, when they campaign, they had campaign events, you saw the people. But there is this candidate, he's campaigning, and you have few people behind him. I don't know how many political events that he had. I don't know how many counties he went to compared to Monimba, compared to Cummings, compared to Tiawan Gonglo. And how is he doing so well? So we really, really need to investigate. But again, it is on the parties now to really audit the results, to look at their own tally sheets. All right, they need to look at their tally sheets and see whether the numbers that National Election Commission reporting, that numbers are in line with their own numbers that they have. But we will go into the numbers, especially the political parties number, a little bit when we get to the other segment of this presentation that talk about their war rooms. Now, this time we will come to the Southeast effect. Let's talk about the Southeast effect first of all. All right, let us have the Southeast effect or neglect. Let's talk about it. So, what is the Southeast effect? The southeastern region of Liberia has been neglected. You can come in, I'm on a show. The Southeast effect is that the Southeast has always been neglected by most of the political candidates, including the CDC. All right, sorry about that. We are back. Sorry for the interruption there. we are back, and we want to talk about the Southeast effect. The Southeast is the abandoned region of Liberia. When it comes to policy, when it comes to development, governments after the other have abandoned the Southeast. We see that also in the elections. The Unity Party has abandoned the Southeast, and I will not hesitate to say that. I have had Unity Parties surrogates here, and they will tell us, look, here, the entire Southeast, when you put their vote together, is far less than what Nimba County had. This is election. Elections are about numbers. And so if we get Nimba will undo whatever President we are going to get in the Southeast. I see a danger with this. And the danger is that if you abandon the Southeast, if you think that the numbers in the Southeast or the people in the Southeast don't count, it's almost like saying, well, the people in the Southeast don't matter. And the fact that, so if you are to win election, it will mean that you know the Southeastern people did not vote for you to make you president. And it will be Nimba people that will make you president, or Bon people that will make you president, or other counties will make you president and not the Southeast. And so when you become president, what you are more than likely to do is to focus on Nimba, Bon, and other counties in your calculation that have the numbers and give you the election. Because you will want to go for second round as a political, or a political party will always participate or want to run to win the election. So now you have become a political party that is only caring or thinking about counties that have more voters. If you can do it in the election and discount and neglect and turn your back on that entire region of the country, the same way when you become president, you will also neglect that region because you are thinking about the next election. Development will be going to where you have more citizens or voters. This is sad. When you become president, you are president for the entire country, not for a particular region. It is a terrible and horrible strategy by the Unity Party to decide to neglect the entire Southeast, thinking that everybody in the Southeast for President we are. And with that notion now, when you become president, that's the same way you will govern. The CDC is also guilty of this Southeast neglect. When the CDC came to power, they felt that, well, the Southeast, that our people, they will always vote for anyway. So if you look carefully, most of the little development and efforts of the CDC have been focused in counties where they have more voters. Nothing significant in Grand Cru, nothing significant in the Southeast. But strangely, the Southeastern people now have rewarded President Weah. Now, if you look at the candidates that made some efforts in the Southeast, it will be Chawon Gonglo, it will be Alexander Benedict Cummings. They went into the Southeast several times, I believe, or a few times, and they campaigned there at least. And yet, the Southeastern people did not get these two candidates didn't get rewarded by the people of Southeast. How come? How come President Weah, when he got elected, he turned his back on the entire Southeast? His second time going to the Southeast, even though he's from the Southeast, was campaign time. The first time he went there was like 4 years after he won the election. And when he went to our hometown of Southtown, he gave the people, from what I was told, I don't know how true it is, he gave the people of Southtown $1 million Liberian dollars, which is less than the 25,000 United States dollars. And that's all he did for the people. And I'm sure they voted for him. And when you look at the number side, why will Unity Party abandon that entire region? Why will you abandon that region? In Grand Cru, as I was looking at the results yet, the Unity Party got 2,000 votes in Grand Cru County. One would think that the Unity Party will not get vote at all. Now, this presupposes that there are people in Grand Cru and all other counties in the Southeast that are still voting for Unity Party. Unity Party got partisans in that place. They are Liberian citizens too. And if you want to win President Weah, or if you want to win the election, not necessarily President Weah, You want to go and compete in every region and every county to minimize the votes or reduce the votes of your opponent, thereby increasing your chances. But now you abandoned and neglected the entire region on your so-called strategy that you will sweep up on Nimba. It is unlikely you're going to get every vote in Nimba County. It is not possible. We're talking about invalid votes here that is taking a lot of votes away from all of these candidates. Who knows whether 50% of that invalid votes were intended for Bwaka? Who knows? And so invalid votes will still take some votes away from you. So to have neglected the entire region and pretty much left it where we are to take, it was a bad strategy, because sometimes in the election, it might be that 5,000 votes that makes the difference. If one is to do a calculation of how many votes Unity Party got in the Southeast, would they have gotten more of that vote if they have campaigned? When was the last time Joseph Yimam Bwaka went to the Southeast, even when he was vice president, before talking about becoming a presidential candidate? When was the last time he went there? Does the Unity Party have any campaign structure in place in the Southeast to compete for every vote? Neglecting the Southeast on grounds that Nimba County is your vote bank and you're going to sweep all, is a dangerous strategy. That they undermine the Unity Party's chances. And that can be said about any party or any politician or presidential candidate who is running for president. It is best for you to compete in every county. Now, you put it on the flip side. The CDC competed in all the counties. The CDC did not say, oh, Lofa County is for Joseph Bwaka, so we'll leave it with Joseph Bwaka. No, he did not say that. As a result, the CDC got significant amount of votes in Lofa County. If we go back to the election result, we realize now that Joseph Bwaka has won Lofa County by 56%. It is because the CDC made some efforts. The CDC did not turn it back on Lofa because Bwaka is from Lofa County. The CDC did not turn it back on Nimba County because Prince Johnson is from Nimba County and he's supporting Joseph Yimam Bwaka. The CDC got about 50,000 votes in Nimba County. That is a significant chunk of vote. 50,000 votes can make you to win election. So let's say in a scenario where President Weah is to win the election, maybe it is that 50,000 votes he has gotten, or more than that he may get in the second round in the election from Nimba County. That can make the difference for him. So this strategy of the Unity Party to abandon the Southeast and not compete for every vote, to abandon the region, more than likely might translate into its policy when it comes to power. The CDC now is doing the same thing. The CDC abandoned the Southeast. The CDC, they have been governing and being a little more intentional. How do we get more votes? Because President Weah wants to maintain power. So they have done some work in Lofa County, entice the young people. You hear them using the language of, well, this is not about tradition, it's about development. You have Thomas Fowler. You have Thomas Fowler making some significant investment in the place we are told. So the CDC, if at all the numbers they have are actually accurate and correct numbers, and if the numbers actually are not cooked by the National Election Commission, then it is safe to believe that the CDC perform very well in this election. Because this is the CDC that have gotten unpopular. This is President Weah that has gotten unpopular. If you look at the human suffering in the country, if you look at the economic conditions in the country, people have been very angry. People have been very unhappy with the CDC. For the CDC to have done this well in the first round of election, and based on National Election Commission recent results on their website right now, the CDC got more votes than the Unity Party. How? What is responsible for that? Is it because CDC campaign heavily in every county? If the numbers are not cooked, then that is a reason to believe that why they did well. The Unity Party campaign in every county? Of course, no. Unity Party was selective. So we don't know for a fact what has happened talking about the accuracy of the numbers or the results. We do not know. But if you look at the strategies and the approach being used by the parties, the CDC competed for every vote in every county. The Unity Party chose where to go and where not to go. That was a bad strategy. And the political institutions or political candidates that went to almost every county, whether or not they did some significant work is yet to be seen, because all what we saw Cummings, we saw Tiawan Gonglo in the Southeast, in all the counties, making some effort. And yet, none of them will come third place. An unknown candidate Apiton will be coming third place. This is extremely, extremely concerning. That will bring me to the issue of invalid vote saga. The invalid vote saga is another thing we have to look at. What is responsible for the invalid votes? Is it because there's a lack of voter education? More than likely, that is a reason. Is it because the political party did not do well in educating their voters and their partisans how to vote? That is another reason. So what is an invalid vote? How determination is being made for a vote to be invalid anyway? How? We are yet to see that. What Focus on Liberia will recommend here, this invalid vote is a serious issue. It's a serious issue because if you look at the history of invalid votes, and I will give you some numbers here. We are numbers people here. All right. If you look at it, there is record on invalid votes. Invalid votes in 2005 were 38,000, constituting 3.8%. In 2011, it went up to 82,000, constituting 6.3%. Then in 2017, it jumped from 82,000 to 88,000. And in 2023, the invalid vote jumped from 88,000 to 112,000. 112,000 is the total number of votes Alexander Bernadette Cummings earned at the time. I'm not saying there's a correlation there. I'm just saying that. 112,000 invalid votes. So as you will see, based on the election results since 2005, the number of invalid votes have been increasing. Have we been doing voter education consistently? If we have been, why are we not having a decline in the number of invalid votes, but we are having an increase in the number of invalid votes? That suggests that we have not been doing a better job as a country. The political parties, the National Election Commission has not been doing a robust work in terms of educating our people. So the invalid votes continue to increase. Now we have 112,000 invalid votes. Could 50% of the invalid vote be for Bouaka? If that were the case, would that make a difference in the results? More than likely. But whether or not that would be enough to make him win is another thing. But that can be enough to make him win in the second round when we have 2% in the election. Similarly, if 50% or 40% of the votes that are invalid, let's say are for we are or were for we are, that can make a difference in the second round. So now, what are the political parties going to do with the huge number of invalid votes? Could these invalid votes be something that was done by the National Election Commission to get the outcome that they have right now? Who knows? So Focus on Liberia will want to recommend that the invalid votes, all the tally sheet be taken and be given to a pro-democracy organization or a civil society organization in Liberia to analyze the invalid votes, to know how the people are voting. And when they finish analyzing the tally sheets, all right, or being the ballot papers to be correct, when they analyze the ballot papers, when they determine how people are voting that constitute invalid votes, then they can write a report and make a recommendation. And based on that recommendation, what you call a voter education program can be devised, all right, so that people can be educated. Maybe that contract can be given to civil society organization, pro-democracy organization to take charge of the voter education. We will also want to recommend here at Focus on Liberia that this thing called election voting, maybe now it should be taught in high school. Let it be a course that will teach citizens how to vote, how to avoid invalid votes. Maybe that will help us so that when people go to the vote of it, now everybody may not have to go to high school, but if a good number of the citizens that pass through the walls of high school that will do this course called voting or election, right? They will not carry that education or that knowledge and share it with other citizens who will not have the opportunity to learn from that. Maybe that will help us, because you don't want people getting up 7 o'clock, or not 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, stood on lines for hours, and then they will vote and their vote will not be counted because they didn't know how to actually vote. That is disappointing, because the invalid vote could be the one that decide an election. Could the invalid vote be for, some could be for Cummings, some could be for Tier 1. Maybe if the number of invalid votes that were for Tier 1 were not invalid, maybe Tier 1 Gonglo would have taken third place. Maybe if the number of invalid votes that were Cummings were not invalid votes, Cummings could have taken third place, thereby changing the dynamics a little bit, thereby giving him a political capital that he may use to endorse a candidate in the second round to determine who should become president of Liberia. We always have the issue of lesser of two evils. But this election, I must report to you, Liberia had choices. We have Tier 1, we have Cummings, we have Monaba, we have Sarah Besloyenti, and then we have our the two parties that have been winning and not being of any significant help to us. That is the CDC and the Unity Party. So the invalid voting is a significant thing that we have to take serious note on and do something about it, and not just allow everything to just go by. No, we shouldn't do that. Now, let me talk about the issue of their fiasco so-called war rooms. I call it fiasco so-called war rooms because these parties, they have been incredibly disappointing, to say the least. So the ANC, the CDC, and the Unity Party told us that they have war rooms. The war room should be a center that is staffed with individuals who will be able to calculate the numbers of the political parties based on the tally sheets being obtained from the field or the polling places. To do that, they must first recruit, train, and assign their representative at almost every precinct and polling place that will represent them to protect the votes that people are casting for them. These people woke up 5, 4, 3 in the morning and got on long lines and stood for hours to vote for politicians who many of them don't have the capacity to even change their life. But because they are hoping that the election will change something for them, they will spend hours in lines to vote for these people. This is how much they have come to trust them. This is how much they have come to believe in them. And so you will expect that the political parties will respect the people, will respect the process, and will show leadership, due diligence, and seriousness in these elections. They should have trained, they should have assigned, they should have gotten report from the field, they should have calculated their own numbers, and they should have released their numbers, the numbers to their voters and their supporters, and in fact to the nation, that based on tally sheets signed by the National Election Commission, given or obtained by our representative in the field at every polling place, here are our numbers. We got this percentage of the votes amounting to this amount of votes. And as a result, we are third place, we are second place, and whatsoever. But these war rooms, none of the war rooms have been able to come up with numbers. Now the CDC giving authentic numbers from their so-called war rooms. Now the Unity Party, and the Unity Party is the most disappointing of all. And that includes the ANC as well, I must say. So let me deal with it. Let me handle the Unity Party. Let me analyze them. Does the Unity Party actually have war room? I would say no. They don't have a war room. They might have a bathroom. That is not a war room. Did the Unity Party recruit pool watchers? Did the Unity Party assign pool watchers? More than likely, they didn't even have pool watchers in the Southeast because the Southeast does not count. How is that a winning strategy, by the way? How many pool watchers did you have? Did you have pool watchers at every polling place at all? This is Unity Party that participated in elections since 2005. They claim to have the experience. How could you go in this election without having pool watchers in some places or in most places? How could you, at this time, you have not released your so-called war room numbers? How will you even get your reports from the field anyway if you don't have people in the field? You expect spirits? Oh, spirit will bring you your tally sheet from the field? Unity Party, seriously? The Unity Party did a horrible job. The Liberian people voted for this party, and they did not protect the votes of the Liberian people. As we speak, Unity Party does not have any authentic numbers that they can show to prove that the net numbers are to the contrary. Unity Party does not have that. And that is sad. That is a disservice. That is disrespect to the people who voted for them. You cannot do that. You are going against a political party that is in power, that controls National Election Commission, that controls the security apparatus, that controls the entire government machinery. And so you needed to be a step or 2 or 3 and even 10 steps ahead of them in assigning people, collecting your numbers, calculating your numbers, and announcing your numbers way ahead of National Election Commission. But when they came with their fiasco press conference, Darius DeLong, the lying tongue, a man who shows no serious leadership whatsoever, and sometimes I wonder why some people continue to praise this guy. He came with a bunch of tally sheets in a plastic bag. How can we even be sure that those are tally sheets? Those could be toilet papers, just to be a little bit sarcastic here. All right? Those could be toilet paper. Because how could you say you have all your tally sheets here? How could you say that? And then he went on to say, now we are inviting the media and everybody to our war room. If you have all your tally sheets, you should have counted all by now. And you should be able to inform us how many numbers you got or what are your numbers. The Unity Party has not been able to tell us anything about their numbers because they didn't do a good job by assigning people in the field. So the Unity Party does not have a war room. There is no war room that will not be able to come up with numbers. These people demonstrated nothing but laziness, unseriousness, and disrespect to the process and the Liberian people who stood in line for them. Now the ANC. The ANC is in shock and dismay. And I agree with them. We all are surprised that the ANC will be demoted from 7% to 1%. That the ANC number will drop from 112,000 to 29,000. That is unbelievable. That is strange. And this is the ANC up to now. They told us they have war room. At the time your candidate became a little more popular, at the time you have more time, Cummings King's 18 months, according to the ANC folks, to the election of 2017, he will net 112,000 votes. So he only had 18 months to work. ANC had 18 months to work and he'll get 112,000 votes. 2023, the ANC had about 6 years to work. And yet, they can't get even 50,000 at 98.4% of the total vote tally. Hello, Liberian people. And the ANC is in shock that at no time it is not possible for them to draft for 112,000, representing 1.6%. I mean, they could not have draft from 112,000, representing 7%, to 29,000, representing 1.6%. No way it is possible. So, what did you do? Did you assign people in the field? Do you have your tally sheets? Have you calculated your tally sheets? What is the total of your tally sheet that you have in your possession? Can you tell the Liberian people that what NEC is saying is different from what you have? As we speak, the ANC is yet to release its own numbers from the field. It is disappointing. We are told Alexander Cummings is blessed. Cummings himself said it. He's blessed. He has money. He's a millionaire. The ANC has been doing well in having fundraisers yet and then and raising money. So one would have expected that they will have a representative at every polling place who will collect the tally sheet and send it to them. A representative who will be present at the time they were counting the ballots, who will ensure that the ballots were accurately counted and Mr. Cummings was not cheated. And now we'll take the tally sheet based on the ballot papers and send them to their war room, and they should be able to calculate their numbers and should tell us how many votes they got. But today, the ANC is here to tell us. What does that tell you? One can only assume that, well, maybe what NEC is saying is the truth, that what the ANC is not telling us something. Equally so, one might say that, well, maybe the numbers that Unity Party got are their actual numbers. That's why Unity Party is not telling us something different. Don't just tell us, say we've cheated. Show us the evidence. Because the way our election is set up, it is difficult for them to cheat, for you not to be able to identify that you have been cheated. The votes are counted at the polling places. You should have your representative there. If you don't have your representative there, blame it on yourself. If you abandon the entire Southeast, and if anything strange went on, blame yourself. Unity Party made a mistake in Lofa County. I have analyzed the result of Unity of the by-election that happened in Lofa County, and I reported here there was significant reason to believe that the Unity Party was cheated. And I don't hide my saying on this. The Unity Party was nowhere around at most of the polling places. So something went on. Unity Party did not learn from that. And this is the Unity Party for whom a good number of people voted. They can't even tell the people that you voted for us. We got the tally sheets. Here are the numbers. Unity Party is not in the position to tell us because Unity Party was nowhere. They were all on social media having political speeches, or they were telling us the rescue train, we're going to win the team first round. They have no groundwork. They have no measures in the place. They have no war room whatsoever. They had a bathroom that they call war room, and no numbers can come from the bathroom in an election. You need a war room. So what is the war that you are fighting? Where are your numbers? The Unity Party does not have that. The ANC does not have that. Even the CDC is another disappointment when it comes to war room. They told us that they also have war room. As we speak, the CDC cannot release its own numbers. CDC is controlling the national purse. One cannot doubt what the CDC is able to do. This is the CDC that went into the consolidated account of donors and took our money without the donors' knowledge on the basis that they wanted to do development. And Samuel Twell called it borrow initiative. Eugene Nabwe called it D-hole cover hole. So the CDC will do anything to get any amount of money to maintain power. So the CDC, one who have thought, will be at every polling place with their representative standing to participate in a count and to send a tally sheet to their so-called war room, and for them to release their numbers and say, hey, we have our numbers based on the tally sheets that we obtained from the field. And yet our numbers are contrary to National Election Commission. All of these political institutions have a role to play in what we call protecting the vote. That is how we ensure the integrity of the election. This is how we ensure the credibility of the election result. That is how we ensure the accuracy of the numbers. We must protect our democracy. The protection is not involved. The protection is with what the political parties do. The citizens have their limitation. They play their role and they play well. They voted for these political parties and political candidates. And what did they do? They were nowhere around to ensure that the people ballots or votes were counted just as they voted. They all have left the National Election Commission. They all have criticized, has been weak and ineffective and up to something. They left the National Election Commission to do whatever it pleases. And they have all of them have been expecting the National Election Commission to butter their bread and sugar their cocoa. What a disappointment on the part of the Unity Party, on the part of the CDC, and on the part of the ANC. It is a huge disappointment. National Election Commission will have no other thing to do other than to conform and abide by the votes and the will of the people. But if they were up to something, the fact that they didn't see these so-called political parties with their so-called bathrooms that they call war rooms, when they were nowhere around, they can do anything. Let me share with you something here. The election that took place in February 22nd in Nigeria, Tinubu won the election according to the National Election Commission, the INEC, Independent National Election Commission of Nigeria. There is a news article that I read yesterday. In one of the prominent former officials of Nigeria, he is saying that Tinubu did not win the election, and Peter Obi won that election overwhelmingly. Those of us that followed the Nigerian election, the crowd that we saw behind Peter Obi was overwhelming. In the election in Nigeria, what happened? The total invalid votes in Nigeria election was 68 million. Think about that. 68 million invalid votes. And this man is saying the National Election Commission swapped Obi's number with invalid votes. And that's how he was defeated in that election, that how they cheated him. That's what the official is saying. So the invalid votes thing is something to really pay attention to. It's done. Tinubu is president of Nigeria. You can't go back and do, if this man, what he said is true, that Peter Obi was cheated, it's late. He's president. He will serve as president of Nigeria for the 5 years he's been purportedly elected for. Similarly, the just ended election in Sierra Leone. After the election in Sierra Leone ended, there was a report that some individuals manipulated the numbers in favor of Marabio. That election ended in one round. Marabio is president. The U.S. government, through the State Department, slammed visa restriction on the individuals accused of manipulating the results in Sierra Leone. That did not change the outcome of the election in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone. Marabio is still president today. These things are not good. To track the will of the people in any election is a dangerous thing to do. No one should engage in this thing. And these things are happening because the political parties are not vigilant. They are not protecting the vote. They are not assigning representatives to the centers. They are now steps ahead of the National Election Commission. The political parties must ensure the accuracy. What war room they have? They have no war room whatsoever. Let's talk about trucking. Trucking phenomenon in the counties and what role it might play in the second round. So we know that trucking is usually done by the legislative candidates. For example, Franti Kofa, who is the deputy speaker of Liberia, he comes from my hometown of Sastan. He's a Sastan man, as I am, just as Josh Weah. He's from Grand Cru. He contested in Grand Cru. These legislative candidates, they take their people from Mosorado. Like in Franti's case, they took people from Sastan who are living in Monrovia and took them to Grand Cru or Sastan to register. I'm just using that as an example. I'm told that Thomas Fowler did the same thing. Thomas Fowler took people from Mosorado and took them to Lofa, especially in the 4-year area, to register and vote for him. Thomas Fowler won. The trucking thing we know. Nathaniel Magay has done trucking. A good number of the legislative candidates will do trucking. They take people from Mosorado and take them to those respective counties to register and to vote for them in the legislative elections. I'm told also Musa Berete did trucking. He took people from Monrovia, he took people from some other counties and took them to Nimba County and register in his district to vote for him. Musa Berete won the election. What am I emphasizing on the dates of vote trucking thing? It's a phenomenon that may have an impact in the second round that we're talking about now. These people that were taken from Monrovia or Mosorado County and other counties and taken to the candidates' respective county to register and vote for them, they have already done their work. They voted for the legislative candidates. Some of them have won. And because those individuals have won, it was the sole reason they took the people to the counties to register and vote anyway. In the upcoming runoff election, those people will not go into those counties to vote. As a result, there will be a decline in the number of votes because some of those people, though they voted for the legislative candidates, they also had the opportunity to vote for presidential candidates. Those people don't want to. The reason they win was because those candidates at the legislative level paid their way and even gave them something. They have won. They don't have interest anymore. They're not going to be doing that. So there will be a decline in the number of votes that will be obtained by the presidential candidates in those counties. In this case, it will be the CDC and the Unity Party. How many Unity Party legislative candidates truck people to the counties who voted for Bwaka? Because those candidates won or they lost, they will not be taking those people there this time. And so there will be a reduction. Who truck more people? The person that truck more people or the legislative candidate on CDC side or Unity Party side that truck more people, that means that that party got more votes in the presidential election. And because more than likely these people will not go in the counties to vote for president this time, there will be a significant reduction in the numbers of votes for that particular candidate. So who truck more people? The one who truck more people, or the parties who legislative candidates truck more people to the counties to vote for them, not only for the legislative, but also for the presidential? That person or that party will end up getting less votes in the presidential election anyway. And if the parties don't do well with voter education, let's say a Unity Party had 30% of the invalid votes. If they don't educate them, then they will get less than 30% of the votes again, and that will be significant. So they need to pay attention to that. And finally, let's talk about the Prince Johnson factor. Throughout my presentation here at Focus on Liberia, I have maintained that I don't trust Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson has been a factor in all of our elections since 2005. In 2005, when he supported Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf in the second round, Ellen will win. The same 2011, Ellen will win again. In 2017, when he decided to support Josh Weah will win in the second round. Prince Johnson has been a determining factor in our election. I lead 3 of them now, and this is the 4th one. Where Prince Johnson goes, more than likely, that stands a better chance. It was the case with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf twice. It was the case with George Weah once in 2017. This time, he supports Joseph Yuma Boaka. Will he stay with Joseph Yuma Boaka? And if he stays with Joseph Yuma Boaka, will Joseph Yuma Boaka win? Because the 3 times Prince Johnson supported somebody in the second round, those people won in the second round. He's with Boaka now. Will he stay with Boaka? In an unlikely situation or scenario where Prince Johnson leaves the Unity Party is done. Joseph Boaka will not win that election. If Prince Johnson should leave the Unity Party and go to endorse President Weah, the CDC will win the election. And this is not impossible. Prince Johnson has supported Ellen Johnson Sirleaf twice. There was a backdoor discussion that centered on money. The U.S. government sanctioned Prince Johnson because they said he was engaged in vote trading. In other words, Prince Johnson would take money to endorse a presidential candidate in the second round. And once he received the highest amount of money, from whom he will receive it, he will support that person, and that person will go to win the election. And Prince Johnson has been consistent in taking money in every election he participated in. According to the Americans, he took money from Ellen when he endorsed Ellen, and Ellen will win 2 times. It is also safe to say that he took money from the CDC when he endorsed the CDC, and the CDC will win in 2017. The CDC has more money now than it has ever had in his lifetime. Prince Johnson has won his senatorial seat. He is the new Todman now. Or let me ask a question. Is he a new Todman now? Todman won for 27 years. Prince Johnson now won another election. He will be maintaining his position as senior senator of Nimba County for 9 years. 3 times 9 is 27, if my math is correct. So Prince Johnson will be the longest serving senator in our nation's history, just as Todman is or was the longest serving president in our history. But the point I'm making with Prince Johnson, there is a leaked information out there from a chat room called Unity Party Governing Team. The Unity Party Governing Team, it has been leaked that it has a chat room. And in that chat room, they are discussing. And some of the discussion, if that is true, this is leaked, we can't dismiss the information. We can't also independently confirm that. But it shows the Unity Party logo. It could be that maybe somebody might have crafted that thing and put names of recognizable Boaka supporters in there, creating a charter of that. We don't know for a fact. But if you look at the conversation, you can see the names of Unity Party operatives, party officials chatting and discussing in the chat room. And these chats, these messages have been screenshot and released to the public. And some of the things they are saying is that they are saying that if they win the election, they will not behave like the CDC. They will not make a mistake. They will bring the war crime code on Prince Johnson. Does it make sense that Unity Party or supporters of Unity Party or the so-called governing team of Unity Party that is enjoying the support of Prince Johnson and Jeremiah Coon, and Prince Johnson gave them Jeremiah Coon, will be saying that they will bring the war crime code on Prince Johnson? Is this what they should be saying at this time in the election? When the only and one person they need most at this time is Prince Johnson? And then they will be thinking and discussing about bringing war crime code on Prince Johnson to nail him. And they were saying to the ICJ, International Criminal Court. I mean, are they brainless to be saying this thing? And if that is true, is that enough for Prince Johnson to say, oh, whoa, this is why you people are saying? Is it the CDC that is up to this, crafted this, so as to give Prince Johnson reason to leave, so they can use it as an ammunition to convince Prince Johnson that this is what the people say. You should come to us, we'll protect you. But one thing that we should pay attention to, CDC is desperate to maintain power. CDC will do anything to maintain power. If there is one thing CDC has to its disposal that it can use, which is its greatest weapon or one of its greatest weapons, is the money that CDC can get and give to Prince Johnson. CDC may convince in the event where CDC succeeds in convincing Prince Johnson that we can give you 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, endorse us in the second round, leave Parker, and now, I know that this is true. This is rumor, by the way, that they will bring war crime court come on outside, and the Prince Johnson needs money. The Prince Johnson needs to be on the, a consequential committee in the Senate. Prince Johnson might well or somersault and go back to the CDC. After all, he was there before. He has been with them. He came close to George Weah. He was George Weah's godfather and advisor. The very Jeremiah Kuhn that is the Unity Party vice presidential candidate was with the CDC. So, folks, that is a phenomenon that is a threat to the Unity Party. It is a significant threat to the Unity Party. And Prince Johnson will do anything for money. So, I just hope the Unity Party is careful with Prince Johnson. And I know for a fact there are reasons to believe that the CDC will not let any stone unturned. If they have the chance to use the National Election Commission, they will do it. They want this election at all costs. And if the Unity Party sleeps again, just as it slept during the first round of election, they will chew finger in their eye. And I'm saying that without any hesitation. I don't know what happens to the Cummings voters. For which Cummings did not even maintain his 7%, neither 112,000 votes. Is that the ANC now is helpless. They don't know what to say. They are confused. Does the ANC have the ability to audit the votes, the tally sheets? Does it? Or are they just going to let it slide? A humiliating 1.6% from 7%. A humiliating 26,000 from 112,000. Wow. So, folks, watch out for the Prince Johnson factor in the second round. The political party, Unity Party, must establish a war room. It is serious for business. It demonstrated sheer unseriousness and incompetence. They continue to say the CDC is inept, the CDC is incompetent, but they demonstrated the greatest incompetence. This is Unity Party that controlled the National Election Commission, that ran a government, that ran campaign. And this is the Unity Party that acts as though it does not know what it's doing. They all go and sit on class reloaded, and they're thinking that they're where they're going to win the election. They have some of their surrogates on other network. They think they're going to win the election. The election must be won on the ground, in the counties, at the polling places. There where you should have your people collect your numbers, be 9 steps ahead of the National Election Commission and the CDC. The Unity Party was not able to do that. That was disappointing. That was a failure. And if they try that again, and if they mess with Prince Johnson, these charters that are coming from this so-called charge room, whether true or not, they need to be very careful. The CDC has the money to convince Prince Johnson and pull him away. The CDC has the money to be everywhere. The Unity Party must find the money. The Unity Party must have a structure. The Unity Party must protect the vote and ensure that they have representatives at every polling place. The reason I'm emphasizing that is we want the people vote to count. And the only way the people votes will count in the second round will be when the parties involved stay true and demonstrate seriousness in protecting the votes of the people. They should respect the people vote for once. Let the people votes not be thwarted. Let the people not be disenfranchised. Let their vote count. Let the Liberian people decide who becomes president of our country. No one else should decide that. And the only way we can allow the Liberian people to decide that is when the political parties are involved, have representatives, have serious war rooms where the numbers are calculated and being reported to the Liberian people, and ensuring that those numbers are in concert or in line with the National Election Commission number. That is the only way the vote of the people will be counted. Other than that, anything to the contrary can happen, and they should have themselves to blame and no one else. On that note, folks in cyberspace, we have a new toddler in town. He's Prince Johnson, and he's going for 27 years. Election goes to second round between the Unity Party and the CDC. The political parties, CDC and the Unity Party, they must establish their war rooms. The war rooms should be war rooms, and they should have representatives in the field. That will give the people reasons to go. The fact that the Unity Party did not do a good job, that can discourage even their voters. That can discourage their voters. And if that happens, it will not be good for them. And I'm sure they know that. And they should not make that horrible blunder of abandoning the Southeast. They should ensure that Liberia is Liberia. All regions, all Liberians, irrespective of what countries they are in, are Liberians, and they must go to them and carry their message to them. And when they become president, whoever wins, they should be able to govern all Liberia, all of Liberia. Don't be selective in your campaign, because when you do, you will want to make sure that those that voted for you that make you president, you give them the development that they need so that they will vote for you in the other election. And those that you think will not vote for you, you will not even care for them. And then you'll be hurting that region of the country. You'll be hurting those Liberians. And that goes to all the parties, and not only the Unity Party. That can be said about the CDC too. The CDC literally abandoned the Southeast. They just been lucky that they just decided to vote for them for no reason, in my opinion. Even though they have their reason, but that's my opinion. Well, on that note, this is how we will come to the end of another edition of the Hour of Politics. My name is Anthony Shea. I brought you another edition of the Hour of Politics on the topic analysis of the first round of elections 2023 results. Until we catch you again with another brand new edition of the show, my name is Anthony Shea saying to you, bye-bye. Enjoy the song that say, "We are all Liberians." Thank you and bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.